Good morning. It is a Tuesday morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to October 2022. And we are jumping in and ready to get into this conversation with you today. Hello. And be able to talk about what the leadership nugget is that we have planned for this morning. So if you are on Instagram and want a different experience when the guest joins the conversation, I am on multiple platforms. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, as well as LinkedIn. However, you will be able to hear, you just won't be able to see the screen interaction. So I just want to welcome you to another Tuesday morning. Leadership strategist Mary May. And usually I am rocking out with coffee, and this morning I am rocking out with tea. So I have a special tea that I'm joining with this morning because I decided I just wanted to do something a little different as we are in this October morning. So the leadership nuggets is what we come every Tuesday to share. To share a conversation regarding how it is that we can level up in our career, in our strategy, and being able to execute and deal with what it is that we're dealing with as a leader, as we're trying to get into the leadership space, and understanding what it is that may be behind the curtain that's blocking our ability to have the most success. And so when you think about what's blocking our ability, like you want to get promoted, you want to be well paid, or sometimes you're already well paid and you're having challenges navigating on the other side of that table conversation with your leaders or with your team members, and trying to get them to recognize the power of the strategy, the power of implementation, and you're not wanting to be passed over and overlooked any longer. Well, I have a strategy process that or program that kind of helps you walk through what those variety of different things can be and how it is that I can better support you and you supporting yourself and living and creating life on your terms and in the value that you choose to live in. So in that aspect, there's a variety of different life 2 millimeter changes and different shifts that need to kind of take place that you may not be aware of. And in you not being aware of them, the purpose of the leadership GPS blueprint is that the G in the GPS stands for goals. We often have goals and we're often working on those goals throughout the entire year, our entire career, if you will. And sometimes they need a little clarity or a little like simple steps put into how we can activate them and ensure that we're living and doing at our highest potential so that it's clear. The P, because it's a GPS, is about planning and positioning yourself and planning and positioning yourself to good morning, to be able to say, okay, where am I at on this conversation of leadership and where do I want to be? So where is it that I need to like prepare, position myself? What places, how do I need to develop myself? What's missing? What can I add on? Not necessarily that you got to get a whole new certification, but understanding where you're positioned now and where it is that you strive to go. And then last but not least, you need a strategy. Like you need a strategy to get to that. So then therefore, when you think about your survival kit as a leader, both personal and professional, that GPS is going to help you navigate what it is, how it is, and the way that we're going to get there. Like so that comes from actually having that personal one-on-one conversation with me to then decide, okay, how are we going to navigate your path, how are we going to navigate your journey, or how do you need support with some plugins to recognize what your GPS coordinates need to be. So we do have a guest joining us in a few minutes that is usually here with us once a month. And look, I mentioned her and she just popped right on in. That was like such timeliness for her. So she just popped right on in as soon as I said we have a special guest this week. and she's with us for the second time. So this is our Ria segment. I want to welcome you to the conversation. I'm gonna let you get settled in because I was like in a flow, but then you like popped in. Um,
No worries.
so the our focus nugget that we have for this morning though is how do you overcome no, rewind.
Mm,
How do you identify and overcome those blind spots? So I just mentioned to you like about my blueprint, having that GPS and getting the clarity of what that GPS stands for. And Ria has some secret sauce too. She'll share hers. But in identifying those and overcoming that blind spots, you need to be clear on what is the challenges that you may be self-imposing or doing out of history or out of experience. We're going to kind of dive into that. And when Rihanna comes on, we go a little bit longer in the day because we want to make sure that we get everything to you. So, good morning, Rihanna. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you this morning?
I am good. I am good. I always get energized on Tuesdays when I get to join with the community.
Yes.
So do you want to tell them about yourself and tell them about your book and stuff like that?
Yes, so great morning, good day if you listening to the replay. My name is Rihanna Edwards, aka Official Ria, CEO, founder of Our Excellence Enterprises, where I help women, CEOs, and owners reduce their expenses, increase their margins, and 10x their revenue as a fractional COO and online business manager. So, as Mary has mentioned, my first book officially released on my birthday, which is the 27th of this month, October, which will
Woo,
be
woo.
available for, yes, it is great. It came a long way, but I'm so glad that it is completed. And those who actually pre ordered before the official release will actually receive it in the upcoming week or so. But everyone for the public, it will be available on the 27th.
Awesome, awesome. And so as we so you heard it here. You heard like what her thing is that she got going on. So remember that as we go through this conversation that she is a fractional COO and she's going to share a variety of ways that if you are an executive, if you are a business owner, if you are a leader, how it is that she can insert. I'm going to say GPS just cuz that's my word. That's not her word, but she definitely has a blueprint that can support you. So when we think about living life on our own terms, and thinking about today's conversation, we have a couple nuggets that we want to share, and outline with you. The thing though is that I want you to think about all of the opportunities that you have before you. And in thinking of all of the opportunities that you have before you, think about how you may need to build your muscle. So when you go to the gym and you're trying to like strengthen something and work ahead, you have this big dream or these big goals. And then sometimes the reality of them or your preferred reality sometimes get interrupted and you're not quite sure how or why or how to get unstuck or how did you get stuck. Um and so we can kind of start with like what some of those your current reality versus the preferred reality. What would you
Uh,
jump in and say?
I would say for a lot of women executives, their pain points is feeling like they have to do everything themselves because they know how to get it done. It's their business that they've been growing for X amount of years, and it's also a lack of trust factor that they have. I would say it's probably within themselves, but I'm no therapist or a doctor. But I would say when it comes to where you feel like you have to do everything yourself and you feel like you have to micromanage every new team member and you feel like they still won't get it, they're not getting it done. There's a element of trust that isn't there, that isn't in alignment with oneself, which is why you can't exude it to others. And you feel like, even though you may want to scale your business and acquire new clientele and get more revenue in your business, things like that, it's like with this one challenge, it's going to be it's going to take a while for you to overcome it. in order to actually exceed the fruit of the preferred reality, which is getting more revenue and expanding your business to different markets.
Mhm.
And having like that overthinking and the overfunctioning
Mhm.
type mindsets, like it doesn't really do you justice. But
Mhm.
it's the fact that sometimes we don't know what we don't know,
Right.
and that's why, we are here on this platform where we're able to shine light on those blind spots, not to really pinpoint anything, but just to give you an awareness and how you can move forward within your business, your professional career, and you as a person, as an individual.
Mhm. Mhm. Because our leadership journey is really both personal and professional, so it's not compartmentalized, or it's not only happening in whatever your work schedule is, but I'm going to say your 9 to 5 that doesn't overlap and impact home, but it's like your pain points and the things that you may have challenges with, and that you find that you're staying up late at night, like you're staying up late at night thinking, rethinking, overthinking, over functioning to a degree about something that if you just sat and kind of did like a mind dump with a professional that can kind of guide you through, where is it that they'll be able to point out a theme in a different manner than you can do it independently. And so what that takes is for you to move out your old thinking patterns.
Mhm.
And so like whatever your brain is being told, what you're feeding your brain of that over functioning, it's making you feel stuck. You might not be stuck, you might not be paralyzed, but because you have fed the information to your brain to say, I'm feeling stuck, or I am stuck, or I'm never going to get this. Like you got to watch the words that you say and how you pour into your energy on a day-to-day basis to be able to make that shift from where you are today in that current reality and where it is that you decide to go. And in that verses in between, like, making that transformation, it's going to be some work. And that work is usually not well, anything you want good is not an easy journey, but anything that is worth putting the muscle into is going to take some strategy steps to make it happen. And sometimes um we have to look at how professionally we can do development trainings or development resources that is going to be strategically, building our toolkit as well. But then recognize that there are some cultural things and some gender norms that kind of put us into that frozen, paralyzed state as well. And what I mean by that, like being able to negotiate higher positioning, higher pay, or like leveling up your career, you may not feel that you can. You might feel like there is a glass ceiling, or you might feel that you have limitations, and all of that. I am here to encourage you is limitless, and that you can, there is no such thing as a glass ceiling when you understand your current reality and how it is that you're going to get to the preferred reality.
And often when we're not in those spaces where we feel empowered, we often become like a hermit and kind of stay shelled in
Hmm.
and with limit ourselves because we feel like even if we try to do more in those
Hmm.
environments where we are the minority, whether
Hmm.
that's a race or gender, but like we are here today, you don't know what you don't know. So this is an awareness piece for you.
Hmm. Hmm. And you got to be careful on what is said that you should do, because the shoulds, the woulds, and the couldas
Mm.
are independently different for each individual situation. So when somebody says, "Oh, you should have done this way," and it could be reframed simply by the words, "I have a suggestion or an idea. Could we consider this?" And then when you're doing it that way, you're walking side by side and giving an opportunity to, really reframe how it is that, again, that positioning of the conversation to take away it being a one up, like you're over the person, or being that you are considering that, okay, I'm just going to overfunction and stay late at work. We'll get into the stay late at work a little bit later.
Right.
Um, I'm sorry, do you want to say something?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, cool. So I mentioned earlier like that leadership is both a professional and a personal, conversation, but we have to be able to kind of regulate what our emotions are, and knowing what your relationship is to trust, and how you actually activate that in your overfunctioning behavior. So the trust and the overfunctioning behavior begin to become more of a part of you, that every conversation you are not open to the opportunity, that you are kind of closed off and shut off. And so when you do that, you don't realize what energy that you're putting out, or that you're striving to be so perfect. And perfect, really, I wish they would take that word out of the English language,
Mhm.
because it's not a reality for us when we're thinking about a preferred reality. It might be our current reality, but it's not necessarily a preferred reality.
I would say when it comes to perfectionism, it's almost, I mean, it starts with a P, so it's really procrastination. That's what one of our shared coaches had shared with us before, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like you can take the time and, oh, it's not right to put this out, or it's not right to sign off on it and approve it, or whatever the excuse is.
Mm-hmm.
um it's just limiting us more and more, and then we just go into those, again, those areas of those comfort zones, levels where we are used to doing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why we are here, to enlighten you how you are empowered to do more, and you are
Mm-hmm.
empowered to share your share and speak your truth.
Mm-hmm.
And also, things I've learned or gained within the past week is that sometimes we can take on emotions from others, and it may not be
Absolutely.
our own true feelings or our own
Mm-hmm.
emotions, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to just be very mindful and conscious of if this is an attraction or a distraction in my professional career, in my current environment, in my whatever that is that you are, that environment that you are in. Is this really
Mm-hmm.
beneficial for me to continue with it? And if it is your emotion, just take 5 minutes, dive into it. But after the 5 minutes, you have to continue, because whether you like it or not, time doesn't wait on anybody, whether you're having a bad day or not. So the truth of the matter is, we have to find more solutions and less excuses. And these are things, I'm still working on myself. So, but that is the reality of identifying like those emotions and reacting, and just taking like a self reflection before we do react.
Right, right. So one of the questions is, how do you develop trust? And before I go into responding to that question, I want to highlight, you just mentioned about distractions, and
Hmm.
when you entertain the distraction, the thing that's pulling you from what your driven focus is, you got to realize that the distraction is in purpose. It's the cousin to procrastination, and it's feeding and fueling into your lower version of yourself. So if you are stretching your role of leadership like to a greater space that you have never really existed in, or maybe you've existed in it in a different capacity, and you're really just trying to build up in a different way, you're going to be distracted. It's just like the GPS has those detours, or if you turn the wrong way and it remaps and rescripts, there's always something that's going to come in the way to kind of distract you or take you off, because your lower version of yourself, your deficiencies, or the things that you're not confident in, are easy and they're comfortable.
Hmm.
And when we're comfortable, we think that that's the right place to be, but that means that there's no growth happening.
Change is inevitable. If we're constantly in the same position, we aren't growing. I mean, a plant literally can't grow without the elements of the sun, right? Mary's plants in the back always has a special highlight. But you need your water. You need the sunlight. It
Mhm.
needs to have room to grow. A shark can't grow in a tank because it's confined, but when it's in a sea, it can grow an infinite amount of inches.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome,
Yes.
awesome. So someone asked about, how do you build that trust? Excuse me. And that's a really kind of deep and loaded question, but to give you
Hmm.
a drive-by version, um trust is like, you have to look at what's your relationship with trust, personally and professionally? And what experiences have you had that made you like pull back, like make you feel snatched, that you had to not trust a situation? So when you think about your original lesson that taught you about trust, and that could be like in work and or in your family growing up or whatever, where was the violation of that trust? And the violation of that trust is what causes you or pauses you in your professional life to have those same guarded thought processes from however you have dealt with or not dealt with that true, authentic personal relationship with trust. So when you are up over like late at night, or you're choosing to work those longer hours and having challenges like communicating to your team, challenges delegating to your team, or knowing that they have the capacity to move the needle forward on whatever it is that you're working on, and you tend to kind of overfunction or say, well, they didn't do it, so let me just jump in and do it. You are challenging the ability not only for your team to trust you, but that you actually don't trust that somebody's going to do it at the capacity or at the level that you want. And so when you're not developing, when you're not dealing with how you broke up with trust or how trust has violated you in the workplace, you are now holding a new relationship, a new scenario accountable to that unresolved situation for you that is a blind spot. You're not realizing that situation even exists, but you do realize that when it comes to your trust or not trusting a situation, that you're acting in the same way. Your defenses, your spidey senses, your over functioning, your okay, well, I know I delegated this to this person, but they didn't get it done. I didn't give them a timeline, but they didn't get it done, so I'm just going to jump in and do it. That creates employee distancing, which is a whole nother thing, but it your trust is all wrapped up into that. So trust really is a function of your excellence, or your challenge with excellence, or your ability to be promoted, either self promotion or the ability for someone to see the value in what it is that you're doing moving forward.
Yes, I feel like you've really identified like the reflection of oneself, because that's where the trust really lies in. It really lies in um, all our past experiences,
Mm-hmm.
good and bad, and how they impact us in our current lives and of course the future.
Mm-hmm.
So once you re-listen to what Mary just said about the reflecting on everything with you as a person and then how it impacts you professionally, then you have to actually take small strides to improve upon that.
Right.
You have to learn how to delegate. You have to learn how to outsource. You have to learn how to relinquish control, because it could be a control
Mm-hmm.
um, element as well. Like, why? Because I don't trust, I feel like I have to control this or control them or control that. But you're not really working smarter. You're just working harder for yourself, and you're not going to earn more with that way, that type of mindset. So when it comes to developing the trust, you do have to reflect on yourself personally and professionally, and then implement and actually take action, small
Mm-hmm.
strides on how we can move forward. So when it comes to your business, if you have a team, maybe there's something administrative that you don't need to be doing. One, I'll talk about that later. But if you have a team, then you're already in a better position, because you can delegate, not tell. You can delegate
Gotta
to
watch those
this
words.
yes, you can delegate to this team member the right project or the work for them to do that's in alignment with their expertise and their background. But
Mm-hmm.
that can also allow you to work on things for your business, grow your business,
Mm-hmm.
and attend to other things in your own life. And that's how you can start working on the trust. It's not an overnight. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not something overnight, especially if it's something that you've always been faced with. But again, this is why we're here, for the awareness piece. So,
Right. And you mentioned the word control. Like sometimes
mhm,
when we have words that can be cover words, I always want to peel them back a little bit more. Because we talked about control, we're talking about trust, we're talking about perfectionism, being procrastination. Variety of life situations have caused us to feel like we have to be the engineers of the outcome. And we do. But if we're trying to control everything, are we authentically using the natural gifts that we have to be in the professional space that we're in? Or are we blocking them? Because if you're trying to be all things to every situation and every part of the puzzle, then there's something that's being overlooked that's more than just you being overlooked and not getting that opportunity of leveling up than you actually are aware of. So, whereas, the team member that you have may not have um executed the way that you wanted them to execute, is there a responsibility of that within you? Did you give them all of the tools and resources? Did you give them the space? Did you give them the opportunity to ask you questions? And did you also say, we need this by Tuesday morning at 8 a.m.? Or did you say, well, whenever you get to it? Because whenever you get to it, you may, it's going to cause a conflict, and you're developing or projecting your own anxiety, your dis-ease, your unrest with the fact that they haven't been productive in the way that you wanted to, but you led that, you taught that, you framed it for them for it to be not what you wanted, not your preferred reality. Rihanna?
Yes, just to kind of close that, it's communication.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's well, many times there's a failure in communication
Mm-hmm.
with oneself and
Mm-hmm.
others, knowing how to communicate what you want to say, what you mean to say, and how to really say it, because it could be a tone in what you are trying, the message you are conveying. So when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to trust, you have to learn how to speak from a genuine place, but also with authority if you are in an executive position, but
Mm-hmm.
also be open to receive feedback from anyone at any level. Doesn't matter whether they on your same executive level, they're your assistant, they're under you, whether it's like a lower, just general staff. It doesn't matter. You have to still be able to receive feedback, constructive criticism, because that, speaking on that professional development piece, you're not going to grow as a professional, grow as an individual if you don't learn how to not only communicate with others, communicate with yourself, but also gain accountability and responsibility in how you position yourself in this
Mm-hmm.
world. And
Mm-hmm.
now those are, I feel like those are all elements of trust. And like Mary said, it's very, the word is so short, but it's very large
Mm-hmm.
impact. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, let us know in the comments how you feeling about that answer, and if you have more, because
Hmm.
right now we have really covered, how to examine, how to release, how to be in purpose, and reframing how you overthink, how you may be overworking and over functioning. And so now we're going to shift to just mindset. Not just mindset, because mindset can be several days of a series of situations because there's so many things that come up. But remember, I said earlier, there's no glass ceiling. And sometimes when I say that, people are like, what you mean? There's always a glass ceiling. No, there's not a glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is a limited belief that has been poured into you, and you took it and owned it and said, okay, I can only go this far. That goes into, earlier we were talking about the negotiation skills and the cultural norms that kind of get put into play. But now we want to talk about, like, when you're looking at like blind spots and how it is that you're going to overcome them, how your mindset around money with the limiting beliefs kind of interchange and work as a foundation of how it is that you exist, and like what it is that you value and what it is that you believe. That makes sense?
To me,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, to you, yes, great. Long as it makes good sense to you. And some of those limiting beliefs, I've had like two interactions this particular since the last time Tuesday that we had the cup of coffee conversation, where people do valuing, they value how they utilize money, or they value their skill set on what it is that they have to offer from a limiting viewpoint. Let me give you an example. If you are preparing for a project and you are feeling like you've been overlooked in the workplace, and you're like, okay, well, am I getting paid enough? Well, what you're getting paid versus the skill set that you are delivering is really two different situations. So when you have extensive amount of experience in the thing and the value that you add to the project, there's really no hourly rate that would match how it is that you're going to perform and the outcomes that you're going to give. But you have to begin to reframe how it is that you present yourself, how it is that you identify the deliverables that you can obtain, and then figuring out what is going to be the time rich experience that is going to get you to create that outcome. When you are comfortable financially sometimes, or you have kind of met where you thought was that glass ceiling, you will say, well, I get a good paycheck and I have my benefits, and so I'm okay. But then you may also undervalue when having a conversation of a project that could easily be, say, if we were going hourly, it could easily be a 500 an hour plus, project. But you're saying, you're presenting to the person, oh well, yeah, I could do $100 an hour. That is you not having the integrity of understanding your true value of what it is that you bring to the conversation. Your value is not trading time for dollars. Your value is the experience, the tools, the resources, the enhancement, and those deliverables that you're going to have on the other side. So when you're pricing, and I mean, when you're asking about information, have you asked and interrogated the full value of what you're going to receive? Or are you allowing the price of something to kind of shift the conversation before you hear what the value is? If it's the latter and the price is what stops you, then you haven't really valued what you're going to gain, how you're going to increase your professional and monetary value by making an investment that is more than just saying, okay, I'm not paying more than $1,000, or I'm not paying more than 199 for whatever the event or task is. You got to think about that money value, and it comes from somewhere.
As far as I guess the women executives who are in corporate and they have they're on salary with benefits, and you still have your own business on the side.
Mhm.
We shouldn't be
Shouldn't.
should not be lowballing ourselves simply because we have an upcoming check for that's guaranteed, whether this person pays or not. So when we speak about the value, you have to speak about the transformation and the results that you're going to be providing. If
Mhm.
this is in alignment with your expertise, your zone of genius, then it doesn't matter that you can do it. That could be your starting rate of 100 in this example. But it's like, all right, what is the value that they're going to receive?
Mhm.
What is the
I would,
sometimes it's more than just like an end result, it's more of like an impact. How is this going
and it's
to
reciprocal.
positively, yes, how is this going to positively and mutually benefit both
Mhm.
parties? And that's
Mhm.
what we have to think about when it comes to one price structuring our services, projects, offers. It's often like hourly doesn't, I don't want to go into all these, but hourly doesn't always compensate well if it's something long term and that you don't have a endpoint. Um, yeah, we could probably talk about that in another segment. But yeah.
Yeah, and something you just said about the hourly. So I want to go back to something we shared earlier. If you look at your hourly rate, I'm thinking about a workshop we talked about. If you look at your hourly rate, sorry, not trying to get distracted, want to give you guys the best nuggets. But if you look at your hourly rate and you think about the times that you stay late for work, or the times that when you leave work or leave the process where you're, doing the project and you're still thinking about work. When you think about the times that you don't have an appetite, you get maybe migraine headaches or your body is upset, you're staying up overnight tossing and turning. Is that hourly rate really matching to the value that you offer to the team? Or are you robbing yourself of the value that you offer by not communicating and delegating and trusting the opportunities that are before you? So it's like, how do you build that muscle and looking at the true, authentic reality that the sale that you were trying to get, the discount that you were trying to get, you have already exceeded it in a deficient standpoint. And we said deficiencies are usually the distractions to our overall goal.
I want to go into the income producing activities, Mary, based on that statement. Transitioning, it's like identifying what is, our time value. And I use this time value calculator in my masterminds. Um, Identifying first what an income producing activity is. So when it comes to income producing activity, we have to identify what is it and what is it not. That's English. Okay, cool. It is not creating flyers when we have a team. It is conducting sales calls. It is not answering emails when we have a team, or executive assistant, project manager titles, or you have somebody else, you're paying someone. It is serving clients. It is not processing payroll. It is creating new offers. It's not updating sheets and reports. It is booking and securing speaking engagements. And when it is an income producing activity, those are the activities that we should be prioritizing on our day-to-day basis. If you want to start working on your business, you have to start to delegate. Busy work doesn't always equate to profits. And when it is not an income producing activity, that is when you should be outsourcing and delegating. And if we go into the actual time calculator, I'm not sure how many people are here with us, but the value of your time is equal to how many profits or gains or protected with every second of your time that is saved. So we were to calculate how much unnecessary tasks are costing you over time. I like even numbers, so I'm gonna do, instead of the 100, I'm gonna do 150. So if you were making $150 an hour, that equates to about $2.50 per minute. So if you spent about 4 hours on non-income producing activities every day times $2.50, that equals about $600 a day. Bump that up to 5 days a week. Say you're working 5 days a week. This is all in your business, not you having a salary. This is your business. So we have $3,000 per week. Now let's say you want to take off 4 weeks within the year. So you're only working 48 weeks. That equates to $144,000 wasted on non-income producing activities. Now, Mary, would you say that those 4 hours sounds costly?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like what I could do with $144,000. Like, and that's just $2.50 an hour is what you said that breaks down to. But over a minute. Oh, a minute.
Yes.
So a minute. Right. I'm sorry. But even that, like, how many minutes could I be at the beach, or how many minutes could I be touring a place, or how many minutes could I be working towards my next productive, task that is going to generate that value that I offer to individuals, as well as it's enriching, life overall, like a reciprocal situation. I would have
Starts
harmony in life. I wouldn't have like, am I balanced? Am I unbalanced? Do I need a VA? Like what's happening? I don't feel right. Yeah, I wouldn't have those questions.
right, because we are outsourcing and delegating
Mm-hmm.
these costs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, well, how much do I actually know how much to pay for this person to create these flyers for me? Um, if we go back to $600 a day, if that person can do it in a day and it costs less than $600, that is your answer.
Mm-hmm.
I know I paid someone to edit a video for me. Took them 3 hours, $30. Whereas if I did it, I probably would have been doing all weekend and things like that. But it's like your time waits for nothing. Like time is so valuable that it doesn't have any monetary value, monetary component associated with it
Mm-hmm.
because it's infinite. There is a point when it does stop personally, but time will still keep going whether we are here or not.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to maximize our time. We only have 24 hours in a day. It don't
Mm-hmm.
matter where you are in the world, there's only 24 hours in one day.
Mm-hmm.
In order to maximize every single minute, sleep, work out, eat, be with family, we have to outsource, we have to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do time rich outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to save six figures annually, I'm pretty sure this is when you need to work on that trust value, communication, and
Mm-hmm.
start delegating and outsourcing. And no one won't be perfect because, again, it doesn't exist, but there's growth behind it, there's progression. So that's what we have to focus on and prioritize.
And just another quick spin on, when people are looking at, oh my God, $600 a day, I can't afford that. Um, you can't afford not to,
Mm-mm,
because the time that it actually gives you from you investing in outsourcing opens up your availability to do something that's going to be more productive. And yes, Fiverr is a great resource for getting labor on projects and getting a quick turnaround. They not paying us for sponsorship, so I don't know why I said them out loud, but it's too
mm-mm.
late. It's too late. But yes, I definitely know and agree that places like them and other places can help you in that productive thing, but it also takes releasing that control of it has to be right and you having to do it. You having to do it is going to burn you out.
Yes, and you got to start somewhere. Like I said, it won't be perfect the first time around, probably not even the fifth, but over time you're going to continuously and consistently learn about you as you as the leader of your business
Mm-hmm.
and how you want to shape your business as a
Mm-hmm.
whole.
Mm-hmm.
What do those values look like? What do you want your clients to be saying that your company does, or when they work with you, what do you want that reputation or that feedback to be?
Mm-hmm.
um if you're doing everything in your business, it's going to be horrible feedback because at some point something is going to drop the ball, whether you like it or not. We're not octopuses. We got two hands, okay? We got two hands, two eyes, two ears. Let's use
Mm-hmm.
them wisely, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use them wisely.
And you're gonna feel resentful.
Mm,
Like if you're always shopping from a sticker price value, you're always going to feel resentful, be it the work and value that you offer to a team or a project that you're working on as a special project. If you don't feel value either from an emotional standpoint, from a financial standpoint, from a your lane of genius standpoint, then while you do the work, you're going to begin to feel resentful. And if you feel resentful, you're not doing your best quality work because now you're distracted by those energetic things that don't serve you well. So you got to look at that value calculator. And if it's $600 a day, what could you be outsourcing to make it that $600 a day turns from a negative side of the ledger of your value to a positive side?
I would just say if you guys listen to the replay, just pause and go back. It actually takes time to go through that little exercise and put in real numbers. So if you charge more than 150 an hour, then put that number and
Mm-hmm.
break it down so you know how much you should be outsourcing, like your
Mm-hmm.
maximum. Like that's how you start formulating your budget. But these are things I work on with my clients. So yeah, it just starts with taking the time and having a plan of action, and
Absolutely.
actually taking action, not just talking about it.
And really working through. I know. So the plan of action that my the GPS infused into your life from the blueprint that I provide also looks at that time value calculator similarly, but a little bit differently. But it's the clarity that you get from just really investing in the opportunity to speak with individuals who have a skill set that is going to give you value overall, and just look at the value. The sacrifice may be something you're like, how am I gonna do that? But the sacrifice, when you actually take that risk and say, I'm no longer gonna fuel my lower self, because when you don't take those risks, or you don't make the decisions to choose you and to choose your level of experience value meter is, then you also end up, I don't know, kind of making pivots in a different way that are not working. So you got to be mindful of how it is that you actually shape and reframe your time, and understanding in regards to, like, your relationship to trust. How do you improve your trust meter? Like, where did you break up with trust? If you really have that authentic conversation with yourself, like, where did you break up with trust, and where did trust hurt you in the workplace, in other places, and you begin to put those pieces of that puzzle together, it will be a total game changer for you, in the blind spots that you uncover, because trust is at the core of the procrastination, the distractions, the perfectionism, the control issues. Like, it's all wrapped up in that one little ball that you wish you could just throw out the window and it just be at peace and okay.
Starts with getting real with ourselves,
Say that
which can
again.
be hard. Starts with being like getting real with ourselves, which
Yeah.
can be hard at first.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, change is uncomfortable, and yeah, you just gotta deal with it.
It has its purpose. It has its purpose. Was it something else that you wanted to share in regards to the value calculator or time rich experiences, outsourcing and stuff? Or
Well,
are
if you
there
want
any
to,
questions from those who are listening with us live? Is it anything that's landed, or like a takeaway that you have so far from what we've shared, or something that you want us to go into more? Now would be the time to kind of drop that into the comments and let us know.
if you want to stop working in your business, start working on your business, you have to identify where your time is being wasted in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that one exercise, that is like one thing you can do, but there are many elements that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, these are things I break down with my clients, providing those clarities, to determine what is actually working well in their operations and what is not.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to those businesses who are, maybe they're small, they have a small team, or maybe they're solopreneurs, it just takes it doesn't take that long to flip the narrative within their business and their success, but it does take the time for them to accept the reality, the current reality, and make the strategic decisions to move forward so they can create a successful, profitable, operable business legacy.
Okay. I don't see any questions popping up on so far, or takeaways, and I know that there's sometimes is a delay, but we have kind of looked at, like I said, we talked about how to release the overthinking, the overfunctioning, the overworking. We've talked about how to improve the trust meter and really spend some time with your conversation and your relationship with trust. And I hope that we've helped you empower the money paradigm, like being able to shift your value of the work and the lane of genius that you have, and knowing that leveling up is always an option, as well as that the glass ceiling is a limiting belief. It's a thing that you have been told, and you just said, yep, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run with it. Yes, sometimes a glass ceiling can be real if your credentials don't match or something like that. But is not always really the case, because there's ways to work around that positioning and planning in the GPS to kind of infuse yourself in a different manner. But it's good to get your full night's rest. It's good to enjoy, your friends, without being preoccupied with checking emails and checking text messages while you're supposed to be in a social situation. It's good to create that balance, and that balance is realizing when you're going to push the stop button on you overdoing your lane of genius of you, because then people are not receiving you or able to experience you at the full benefit of what it is that you have to offer.
It all starts with you making the right conscious decision to move forward in your own life, in your own business. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
let this be an awareness message for you.
Right, right, right. So my quote for the morning is the quote that I actually shared last week, because I just think that it's a great quote. That your joy is non-negotiable.
Mm.
Your joy is non-negotiable. I was talking with a family member last week, and this is a quote that they actually have on their signature of their email. And when they described it, I was just like, you know what? I think I like that quote. I think I like, having balance, me, experiencing joy, and defining what that joy means for me independently is a non-negotiable. So then therefore, when challenges come or distractions come, um, that, you begin to respect authentically like what spaces are working for you. So one of the questions that one of the nuggets of takeaway that have come in is delegate to appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what you think about that quote? My joy is non-negotiable.
Yeah, well, I know personally that one hits home for me. So I appreciate the message for this morning. But it just goes beyond this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
because the life that you want to have, it just starts with your mindset.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There you have a choice. I had done this Facebook post a few days ago. You have a choice to be positive every day. You have
Mm-hmm.
a choice to exude great vibrations, high vibrations. You have a choice to consume, create, and just be present in greatness. I'm sure I'm definitely paraphrasing what I said, but it's very easy to just stay in your comfort zone. It's very easy to revert backwards and just be stuck in the norm.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say like my joy is non-negotiable, you have a choice. It's really it's everyone has choices. We may
Mm-hmm.
not have the same 24 hours, but we do have choices. It could
Mm-hmm.
be limited choices. So if it's limited, then you have to make the best choice for your current situation. Make the
Mm-hmm.
best decision so you can move forward. So you can have more opportunities and increase your choices. Um, but just remember you have the choice.
Right.
So your joy is non-negotiable. So that was great.
Awesome. Awesome. And do you want to tell them more about your book before we wrap up and wind down for today, or your programs and services that you have available?
Yes. I don't know if it's on here, but probably could post it in here. No, my Eventbrite.
Oh, okay. Let me delete
So
something.
where is that? Biz Mastermind. Yes. So on the 23rd of September at 7 p.m., which is a Sunday, I'm hosting a mastermind for women executives who want to stop working in their business, start working on their business. And you can actually visit. Um, well, I think I could put it here. I don't know if it shows up, but
It'll show up everywhere.
if you go to biz underscore mastermind dot eventbrite, this is for women, particular. Those are who I work with. But if you have a female representative that you can refer me to,
Mm-hmm.
then you can more than welcome share this link so they can join and sign up. It is free, but I do have some VIP tickets where you will actually have an additional Q&A session with me and some other valuable gems, pre-worksheets for the mastermind, and just be answering questions, fine tuning to your actual business operations. So that is again on the 23rd of October, which is this month. So it's not this Sunday, the following Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, my book is coming out on the 27th. So you can go for one of these pages where you say Rihanna Edwards, I will be blasting it everywhere. So just stay in touch and follow me so you can order your first book, which is Too Many Plates, CYA, 8 reasons why successful businesses never scale to 7 figures. That is it.
That's it. Okay,
Hmm.
and then so we're in the fourth quarter, and a lot of things is actually happening. You go to the stores, and they're already talking about, like, it's October. They're already talking about, like, the Thanksgiving celebrations that people do, and then the fall December celebrations that people do. And the thing that, from being a person who's a leadership strategist and wanting people to be in position, you've been working on your goals um all year, like all year long. So it's like, now you really want them to be zoned in and work out phenomenally well for yourself. So there's 5 quick steps to level up your career for Q4, but by leveling up for quarter 4, you're also positioning yourself for a successful 2023. And so I have a webinar that is available hybrid. So if you're in the Philadelphia area, there is an in-person location that you can come to. However, you can also join it virtually. And it's going to help you create your visibility, confidence, clarify your goals, and know what your lane of genius is, to be able to infuse that GPS unapologetically and effectively in all things. And so I will post that link available for you as well. Their registration is good through next Monday. So I look forward to possibly serving you in that aspect as well. So, is there any closing thoughts that we have?
Mm, don't just listen to our segment. It's all about taking action,
Mm-hmm.
because success loves speed, and if we're moving, we are in a quicksand, and we need to be on airplanes flying above the horizon. So just be mindful of what we are doing every single day, every single minute, and how this is benefiting you and I. This is what you should be saying to yourself, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
in our future.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I just say, listen, re listen, take notes, but definitely whatever you do, make sure you execute with implementation, because we can attend variety of different things and we're like, oh, that was great. But how are you actually executing it, to put it through implementation? And so, with that, like, we've covered a lot of, well, not a lot, but we've covered some blind spots that people experience on a continual basis in their day-to-day relationships, but definitely in leadership. And so I would love to hear your feedback that you may have in regards to what we've talked about today. And Miss Rihanna Edwards joins us once a month. So, you're definitely going to get like a whole bunch of information when she comes into the room. But we're here each and every Tuesday, sharing the leadership nuggets with some coffee, or like today I have some tea. And if there's no other thoughts or comments and we catch you on the replay, we appreciate it. Share with anybody who you find may be of that this could be of service and support to. And we'll see you next week for you get ready for your breakthrough chat and much, much more. So until then, have a wonderful, successful, and harmonious week. And remember that quote: your joy is non negotiable. Bye.